Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So at this time of the month, you usually see a lot of videos going around which talk about the number of stocks they're going to buy in September. And I think that's a bit superficial because I would buy a stock only if I feel that it's a strong long-term hold and that if there's a good opportunity. And I won't know in advance. The opportunity will just present itself. And then, but if I do buy a stock, I will let you know. And you guys already know what's in my portfolio. So I thought I would do a video of what I'm actually planning to do in September, and of course I do this in other months as well. So I usually try to read a lot, and I try to find out as much as possible about the companies I own. And I think one way to actually do that is to listen to the CEOs of those companies. I think they are, of course, the leaders of those companies. They are the actual decision makers, and by listening to them, you get a better understanding of the company, and you also get to know whether you trust the management and whether you want to invest with that management as well. So I'm going to show you some ways that I have the opportunity to listen to CEOs. So I think one good source of listening to CEOs is in the show Mad Money, and this is Jim Cramer's show, Mad Money. And so on this show, you get to see a lot of CEOs actually who appear on his show and do interviews. The interviews usually last about 10 minutes or so, and I think they're very insightful. So recently there was this interview with the Starbucks CEO, and I didn't know much about him, especially since he's quite new to the company, but I found him very nice after looking at the interview. And then there's Salesforce CEO who also appeared on the show recently. And Salesforce is actually a company that I'm looking into and might even buy one day. So it's good to know how the CEO is thinking and how the CEO feels the prospects of his company are. And then you have other interviews, like I think he did one with FedEx CEO Fred Smith sometime back. And I don't usually watch the other segments of his shows where he talks about how he picks stocks and what stocks he's picking, because again I don't have insight into his portfolio. I don't know what percentage he's buying, and I don't know how to track his portfolio. So it doesn't appear to me as if he has real skin in the game. So I don't pay much attention to that, but I do like the interviews on his show. So another good place to watch interviews of CEOs, I think, is the CNBC YouTube channel as well. So again, you have Jim Cramer's show on this channel as well, and you have certain clips I think that were not on that Mad Money channel but are on this channel. So just today, actually, I watched the CEO of Splunk, and I didn't really know much about Splunk before that. And I also watched the interview of the Nestle CEO, and I thought it was quite interesting. And the Nestle CEO seems very optimistic about the prospects of Nestle. So they're very interesting interviews, and you really get to know more about the company in detail, and especially what their future plans are. And if they had a bad earnings call, perhaps they clarify certain things, and you get good insight into the company. And so it's not just Jim Cramer show on this channel. You can also keep up with the news in general, and sometimes I do watch those clips. But you also get to see other interviews by some of the other correspondents, like this one with the Hasbro CEO. And this is another interview that I just watched, and I found it very interesting. And Hasbro has done a recent acquisition, so there were a lot of questions regarding that. And so again, you get a first-hand view of how the CEO views the acquisition and what he thinks about it and how it will benefit his company, and that's very useful rather than listening to what an analyst thinks about it, who doesn't really have as much knowledge or even skin in the game compared to the CEO. So another good source for watching interviews, I think, is the Bloomberg channel, and I watch that quite often as well. And for example, when Facebook announced Libra, I think it was best to actually just watch David Marcus, who is the head of Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency, speak, rather than just listen to a lot of speculation from a lot of other journalists. So this is a good channel to check out such interviews as well. And I think finally there's also the David Rubinstein show, and I do watch that as well. I think on this show you usually see a lot more politicians and world leaders rather than CEOs. But you do get the occasional CEO, like you got the chance to listen to the Marriott CEO here. And then I think sometimes you listen to some of the past CEOs. And here you get to see L'Oreal CEO. And then you see there's other politicians like Christine Lagarde and Jamie Dimon as well. And so there are a lot of useful information on this interview show as well. And you have Bill Gates, and then you have Apple as well. So there are a lot of information that you can get from listening to the CEOs on these shows. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something from this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and have a great day.